Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, the show where we round up all of the latest news in the world of nerdy movies. Not a ton of stories to talk about today, but interesting ones nonetheless. My phone is going off, but I'm not editing it out because this isn't a professional operation over here. We're wacky dacky over here, you know what I mean? Let's just get started. First up, we have a trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's. This is the official trailer. I'll be for real with you. I don't think this movie looks especially good. Here's the thing, but I've started looking at it through a different lens, okay? I've opened my third eye. This, at the end of the day, it needs to be understood that this is a children's movie. And because Five Nights at Freddy's is at this point basically a franchise for children. That is what their core audience is. And so when you kind of look at it as not so much in the vein of like Insidious, but in the vein of like the 90s, early 2000s Goosebumps, like live action TV show, if you remember that. If you look at it as something more in the vein of that, I actually think that I can find something to enjoy here. Don't get me wrong. As a Five Nights at Freddy's connoisseur, I will be watching MatPat's video breaking down the lore. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I have kept up with those. That has been my main source of consumption for Five Nights at Freddy's. So don't act like I'm saying I'm above this. I'm not. I will be watching this movie. but yeah, just objectively looking at it, it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look especially scary. Hopefully the actual movie itself will change that. But yeah, I'm sure Five Nights at Freddy's fans are gonna like it. They're gonna be able to find all the Easter eggs. Me personally, I'm a little bit confused because, okay, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a lore rant because it looks like the Freddy's location in this movie is like already run down and out of business, but William Afton is still William Afton. Am I wrong, or does that not happen until after he becomes Springtrap? I don't know. But although Springtrap is in the movie, maybe we see the origins of Springtrap. Okay, I'm going to move on because people who don't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's lore have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, moving on. So there's this like really mediocre looking Avatar game that's coming out, Avatar Quest for Balance, but it is what I've kind of been asking for. I think, do they describe it as a... Okay, they don't exactly describe what genre it is. Oh yeah, it's an action-adventure game. Because there have been, like, a lot of Avatar The Last Airbender games coming out, but they're all, like, weird, like turn-based RPGs or, like, card games, and they're all mobile games. This is an action-adventure game, which is what I want out of Avatar. Is it the big AAA action-adventure game that I've dreamt of? No. Does it look like... Does it look like a AAA game? Absolutely not. Is it disheartening to know that like the developers of the games, like they've made like Flash games and like the Nickelodeon kart racer games? A little bit. But I'll play a mediocre Avatar game. I mean, I'm not above that. And that's what this looks like. So, hopefully it'll be at least kind of cool. Yeah, let's move on. Okay, last trailer. We got a trailer for Dune Part 2. I think this is a good-looking trailer. I am somebody who did not like the first Dune very much, mostly because I didn't really understand what the movie was about. I don't know. It felt like the first movie It was very like, I mean, it's obviously very heady sci-fi, and I am an idiot, but it's also a movie that it really felt like, unless you like already read the books and you knew the lore, it felt like it was just completely leaving newcomers to Dune in the dark on like what the world was, like the characters and their, their relationships with one another. Like, I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't care about any of their relationships. This looks better. Like, this, I don't know, or at the very least, this looks like just a more straightforward film to me, where I was confused when I first watched the trailer, and you can watch my reaction video where I just look like an idiot. But in rewatching the trailer a couple times, this does look a bit more straightforward. It looks like Timothy Chalamet is going to, start leading the Sand People, and they're going to rise up, and they're going to fight against the bald-headed black and white people. You know what I mean? It looks a lot more straightforward than the first Dune, in a way that I think I'll be able to appreciate it more. And hey, who knows? I will be rewatching the first Dune before I watch this, so maybe I'll gain some appreciation for the first one when I kind of consume both of these in close together. But we'll see. I mean, listen, obviously, visually, it looks amazing. The performances look great. Dennis Villeneuve is obviously like a talented director. His first Dune movie just didn't speak to me. But yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. All right, first story of the day. Apparently, the Across the Spider-Verse working conditions were not ideal. We'll start reading here. Speaking pseudonymously to Vulture, Across the Spider-Verse animators detailed an 11-hour, 7-day work week within a toxic work culture. Philip Lord of the filmmaker duo Lord and Miller was specifically labeled forceful, reportedly overruling producers such as Kemp Powers and demanding as many as 5 revisions to the final renders. It was said that the pandemic-related delays were also partly due to Lord's inability to conceptualize the animation before it was fully rendered. An animator by the name of Steven described his experience. Over 100 people left the project because they couldn't take it anymore, but a lot stayed on just so they could make sure their work survived until the end, because if it gets changed, it's no longer yours. Executive Vice President of Sony Pictures Imageworks, Michelle Grady, defended Lord, who said that Lord was often the target of workplace dissatisfaction as the messenger for the upper brass. Producer Amy Pascal added that the number of revisions was typical for making movies. So yeah, and it should be noted that in the actual article itself from Vulture, the 11-hour 7-day work week, that is a workflow that went on for over a year. Whoops. And here's the thing. It really does need to be noted that I'm not an animator. I don't work in the film industry, obviously. So I can't speak to how these movies are made. What does it take to make these movies? But I don't doubt that making these movies takes a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. I don't doubt that. 11 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's too much. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care what you're doing. Demanding that from your employees for over a year? Nah, I mean, come on. That's too much. Like I work like 8.5 hours Monday through Thursday. I work 6 hours on Fridays, and then I have my weekends off. Although technically, if you count YouTube, I basically never have days off. but again, even with me doing YouTube, I understand that artistic stuff takes passion, and it takes it's never going to be just like a regular job, like my day job where you clock in, you clock out. I understand that it's never going to be that, but for over a year working 7 days a week, 11 hours a day, sounds like too much. Now I hope that they were like properly compensated, but it does get to a point where financial compensation, I don't know if that's enough for over a year not seeing your family. you know, probably not going to your kids' baseball games. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I can't get behind it. I can't justify it, and it leads into the next story actually. That it looks like this is going to cause the next movie, Beyond the Spider-Verse, to probably most likely get delayed. So we'll start reading here. The animator quoted under the pseudonym Steven claimed that the third Spider-Verse installment was at risk of missing its March 29th, 2024 premiere date in an interview with Vulture. They've announced that Beyond the Spider-Verse will release in March of next year, he said. I've seen people say, oh, they probably worked on it at the same time. There's no way that the movie's coming out then. There's been progress on the pre-production side of things, but as far as the production side goes, the only progress that's been made on the third one is any exploration or tests that were done before the movie was split into two parts. Everyone's been fully focused on Across the Spider-Verse and barely crossing the finish line, Steven added. And now it's like, oh yeah, now we have to do the other one. Sony Pictures releasing being forced to delay Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse's debut wasn't the only bombshell Steven dropped in the Variety expose either. Notably, the animator also alleged that extreme working conditions, which we talked about earlier. So yeah, the movie's probably going to get delayed, and I think I speak for hopefully a lot of us when I say, yeah, delay the movie. We can wait. Treat your animators right and delay the movie. I know we all made a big stink after the cliffhanger in Across the Spider-Verse. It was like, no, we need the movie next week. We don't mean that literally. We're okay waiting. Treat your animators right. Take your time making the movie. We will watch it when it's ready. I promise. I promise you, Sony. We will be there. So, I don't know. Literally nobody's watching this. Literally nobody cares about that. But obviously that's my opinion. All right. Let's get into the next story. We finally have some casting for Superman Legacy. So, David Corenswet, this is the dude on the left. He will be playing Superman, obviously, and Rachel Brosnahan is going to be playing Lois Lane. So here's the thing. I don't know much about David Corenswet. The only role I've seen him in is in Pearl. And he was good in that, right? He played kind of like the hot guy in the movie. And he was pretty hot. And, you know, I from what I've seen with him, I have no problem with this casting. I think he'll probably be fine. Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. My thing is not on the thing. Okay. Oh, boy. This is already... What are we doing here? Hold on. What is happening? What have I done? wait, what? Hold on. Okay. Here we are we okay? I think we're okay. Yeah, so this is him. I saw him in Pearl. This is the thing that I really saw him in. And he was fine in that. Then you have Rachel Brosnahan, who I actually am pretty familiar with because she is in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And that's what I've seen her in. And not gonna lie, I actually think she's gonna be kind of a perfect Lois Lane. I mean, obviously visually, I mean, that's Lois Lane. But the performance that she gives in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, she has incredible charisma. Her ability to be like really snappy, in terms of the dialogue, which I'm sure is gonna help with her being Lois Lane. I think this is perfect casting to me. Like the David Corenswet guy, I'm sure he's gonna be fine. But like Rachel Brosnahan is the one where I'm like, I see that. That is, yeah, perfect. So yeah, this is good casting. Well, they should be looking at casting some other stuff right now. Like I think next up we're probably going to hear about Lex Luthor. That's coming down to, like, from what I understand, as far as rumors are concerned, you can never really pay too much attention to rumors, but it's coming down between like two of the Skarsgård brothers and Nicholas Hoult. I think it'll probably end up being Nicholas Hoult, only because of the three of those guys. I think he will. I think he'll look the best. I think he'll look the best bald. That's literally my only. That's my only reasoning. Yeah, if you don't know the Skarsgård brothers, one of them was the Northman in the movie The Northman, and then the other one was like the really tall bad guy in John Wick 4. The guy who was like trying to get John Wick killed. So that's those guys. I think it'll probably end up going to Nicholas Hoult, but we shall see, won't we? All right, next story. So we have some set photos from Venom 3 that apparently are indicating that the movie is going to take place in Mexico. So, they're like, there's Spanish written on the walls. But people really think, I guess the reason why people think it's going to be set in Mexico, or at least part of it is going to be set in Mexico, is because, more Spanish names on the wall, is because of these, like, Day of the Dead decorations here. I guess. I mean, I think that tracks. So yeah, Venom 3. Are you excited? Mexico. I don't know. I don't know that I care too much about Venom 3, but yeah, I can't put a positive spin about that. I just don't care about Venom 3. Okay. Next up, Spawn reboot release window revealed by Blumhouse head. According to Blumhouse, Todd McFarlane's Spawn. Okay, I guess we'll just read his quote here. I would say you have a lot to hope for because it's in very, very active development, Blumhouse CEO Jason Blum told comicbook.com. What needs to happen is that my fellow friends, the writers and the studios, need to figure out their differences and get back to writing. But we've got a great group of folks putting it together, and my hope is that the movie, my prediction, is maybe we'll actually see a Spawn movie in 25. No promises, but that's my prediction. So yeah, I guess Jason Blum is like pretty confident in thinking that this movie's actually going to end up coming out in 2025. So that could be cool. It could be very cool indeed. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to have to wait and see the Blumhouse Hellboy movie that they're making before I have confidence that they can actually make like comic book movies on their budgets, that they're willing to give out. It'll be interesting. All right, next up. We have some Sandman Season 2 set photos. Apparently, I mean, it's filming, so that's the big news. But apparently they're on the beach. Apparently the guy in white here is like, what's his name? Orpheus? Morpheus. Sandman is Morpheus, isn't he? Bro, I don't know. No, he's Dream. Then Lord Morpheus is the guy in white, I think. And then is Morpheus the god of the underworld? Or is that the lady from the first season? I don't really remember. I don't remember the lore of Sandman. But either way, even though I didn't quite understand all of the lore of Sandman, it was all pretty complicated. I really love the first season. I think it's one of the better Netflix shows, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm totally excited for Sandman Season 2. All right. Last story of the day. Captain America 4 officially wraps filming. So there was the cinematographer posted an Instagram story. You can see it here. Basically, let me actually take my thing off. Yeah, you can see it here. She posted a slate, and she put wrap on the bottom. So, yeah, Captain America 4 is done filming. I actually think that a lot of projects are probably going to wrap up soon, or they're like trying to kind of rush across the finish line because the SAG Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, is potentially going to go on strike the same as the writers because they can't come to a good deal with the studios. So I actually do think that we're going to end up seeing a lot of projects wrapping up soon. There are reports that Deadpool 3 is actually wrapping up soon, which I think that movie started filming like maybe a month ago. And that's one of those things where we could potentially start seeing some projects that are a bit too rushed. Potentially. But of course, we will have to wait and see. Okay. So, Oh yeah, that's sorry. I was like trying to. I thought there was like some like news that we were gonna cover in real time as I'm recording the show. Not really though, because it was a bit of a nothing burger. That is going to be it for this episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, show where we round up all the latest news in the world of nerdy movies. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Boost my video up in the algorithms. Why don't you? And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.